If I lost everything tomorrow and I had to get back to $500,000 a year, this is the 8 steps I would use to actually get to that income goal step by step. So if you don't know already, I started as an IT technician making $35,000 a year, and I was able to transition into a cloud engineer role, multiple contracts. I had 3 at the time, making a total of $489,000 a year. And it wasn't rocket science. It wasn't through certifications. It was actually through the 8 steps that I'm about to share with you in this video. And so I would actually get there faster because right now there's around $725 billion being dumped into this industry. Okay. And it's a lot easier to get opportunities if you know how to position yourself and if you have the right mindset and skill sets. So let's get into it. So the first thing you have to understand, and this is the most important one. No, actually, this is the second most important one. Step number 5 is going to be the most important one. The first step is you need to pick a number. And that number is the standard, not the goal. Okay. And so the reason why this is important is you need 2 things. Whenever you're trying to do anything in life, you need 2 things. You need the mindset and you need the skill set. The mindset is the foundation. It's the most important part. If you have the skill set, but not the mindset, it's kind of hard to actually get what you want. Okay. Now, why are we saying that you need to make this the standard, not the goal? You will always rise to the level of your standards. If you're trying to reach a goal, right? Most people, right, they don't actually accomplish their goals. But if they fall back, right, if they go back, if they don't hit their goal, they're going to always fall back and default to their standards. Okay. And so the first thing I want you to do is write down an actual number. Mine was $500,000 a year. And I would stop calling that a goal. Goals are something that you aim at. Standards are something that you refuse to go below. This is important. Okay. So, you hear this all the time, like make 6 figures in tech, right? Make $100,000 in tech. Like that's like the standard in terms of the industry and what people say online. But you need to actually change that mindset. For me, it was $500,000 a year because I knew that if I was making $25,000 a month, the rate of me retiring my 9 to 5 is a lot faster than if I was making $7,000 a month, which I was. Okay. At my first IT job. My first cloud engineer job. My first IT job, I was making $35,000 a year. And then I actually transitioned to cloud and I was making $135,000 a year, which was $7,600 a month after tax in the state of Maryland. Okay. Now, the second step you need to have is you need to learn the skills that have a contract market and not just a job market. I'm going to say that again. You need to learn the skills that have a contract market and not just a job market. Okay. So to be very, very simple, to put it very plainly, skills, if you have skills, it can get you a job. Okay. But other skills can get you a contract. And those are not the same. It's not the same market and they don't pay the same. Okay. So as a cloud engineer, right, you have skills that can get you a W-2 job. And then also as a cloud engineer, there's some skills that can get you a C2C contract. And C2C contract has more leverage because you're able to make more money and work less, right? If you're actually able to, get these contracts and get paid per a deliverable and not by your time. Okay. And so the job market gets you hired. Okay. And the contract market means like you can get billed out tomorrow. Okay. 90,000, right? 100,000, right? Depending on the contract that you get. And so, and it's based off the deliverables that you can provide. Now, the third step that I want everybody to listen to is like most people, let's put it like this. Most people, right? You want to be careful on how you're going about this market. You want to be careful on how you're researching cloud engineer and the salary. Now, I see a lot of people making the same mistake, and they're looking at these jobs and it's $120,000, $130,000. And that's a good salary, but you're missing an extra 100,000 just by looking somewhere else. If you look at like 20 senior level cloud engineer roles, right, and you put them in a Google Doc with the salary next to it, and then you look at junior level roles or just regular cloud engineer roles, and you look at the salary right next to it, like 20 of them, and if you compare them, the salary is going to be different. But the crazy part is what's similar is the job description and the skills: Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes. Okay, right? The skills is different. I had a senior level cloud engineer position. It wasn't DevOps. That was my other contract. But I had a senior level cloud engineer position, and literally it was a 1099 position, and I was doing it myself, and they were paying me $200,000 a year. Literally, for like the first couple of months, I was logging into EC2s, about 10 or 15 a week, right? The storage was above like, I think 85%. And there was an automation that would put all of the EC2s inside a PDF if it was 85% or higher. And it was my job to literally go inside the EC2 and remove the temp files, right? Just files that, they're no longer using on the computer, right? And we had users logging into this computer and using it for their day to day. But it was my job to remote into there and just clear the temp files. Now, this literally took me around like 15 to like 30 minutes a week. And I was doing that for like the first 3 to 4 months. And I was getting paid $15,900 a month. A month. Now, that was before tax. I did my own taxes, right? I took 30%, put that to the side. But it's just to say that was a senior level role. And I was doing the most basic task as a cloud engineer. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because you want to make sure that the roles that you're targeting, right, are the contracts that you're targeting are the number that you want, right? That has similar roles and responsibility like a junior level position or a regular cloud engineer position. Okay. And so now I want to make this clear. It doesn't mean that if you get a senior level position, it's going to be basic. No, but typically the skills are the same. And so just by looking somewhere else, you can get an extra $100,000 a year. Now, step number 4 is you want to build one system with a dollar figure attached to it. What do I mean? Not 3 projects, one system. And there has to be money attached to it. Okay, here's the difference. Now, you can have a project that says I built a VPC and an EC2 instance, but a system, right? It says I built the infrastructure that took this deployment from hours of manual work down to 9 minutes. And it saves engineers hours, this X amount of hours per month. Okay. Like you can kind of see one is kind of like, oh, I build an EC2, I build a VPC. It's kind of like you're doing like homework. But the other one is like a business use case. Okay. And this is important because this is what's going to separate you, not just by how you communicate, but even what's on your resume, because on your presenting it like a business use case, that is value. Like I have my own business, right? I have a cloud consulting business. And I pretty much I employ like my students to do the work. But my main point is, if somebody was to come, if I was to look at a student or look at an engineer and they say, hey, they were able to save X amount of time and X amount of money, this is what they did to do it. That's value. And value is what creates opportunities for job seekers. Okay. Now, before I get into step 5, I want to explain, if you're already in tech, right? And if you're making 6 figures and you're stuck, right? You're trying to get to that 300K, that 400K, that $500,000 a year. I have a step-by-step program that teaches people not only the technical skills of cloud engineering, but how to brand yourself, meaning how to get recruiters to reach out to you, and also how to communicate effectively on job interviews. Most people in tech, they don't know how to communicate, right? How are you able to communicate the value? And it's not just communicating your value, but you have to be able to solve the company's business problem and technical problem on the job interview. Every job description, there is a business problem and a technical problem. That is why the job description exists. And you need to be able to communicate the solution to both the technical problem and the business problem. Okay, so there's 3 skills that we teach: cloud engineering, tech stack, and projects and experience. Also in today's market, right? Like what's relevant, how to brand yourself, how to get consistent recruiters reaching out to you, and how to sell yourself on interviews that positions yourself as one of the top candidates on any job interview. And if you're interested, go ahead and click the first link in the description below. We don't just accept anybody. There is an application process. We have to make sure that people that's coming in, right, they're vetted. Okay. And so this is not something we just allow anybody to join. We're only looking for people who are serious. And if that's you, go ahead and click the first link in the description below and apply. And me and my team will reach out to you. Now, let's get back to the video. So step number 5, and this is super, super, super important. And I mentioned this in other videos. This one thing is what I see all the time, and it's killing a lot of cloud engineers getting the opportunities that they truly deserve. Step number 5 is stop applying and make yourself inbound. I had a student, his name was Stormy, and he received 3 offer letters, $466,000 a year. Now, the first job, it was 110. Mind you, Stormy did not have a degree or any certifications. The first job, $110,000 a year. The recruiter reached out to him and he got the job. The second job was $190,000 a year. Excuse me. The recruiter reached out to him and he got the job. The third job was for $80 an hour. It was for $166,000. So I think that's $80 an hour. And the recruiter reached out to him. There are 5 ways of getting an offer letter, and 99% of job seekers only know about one way. Now, I'm going to ask you, anybody that's watching this video, if you wanted the job, how would you get the job? I'm going to give it like 3 seconds for you to answer it yourself. Right? You would apply. Applying to a job has a 2 to 3% converting rate to an offer letter. That is piss poor. There are 5 ways of getting an offer letter. I'm not going to go through all 5, right? I'll probably make another video on that. And if you want to see that, go ahead and leave a comment. But the way that we position ourselves in the market is we brand ourselves. We have specific SEO optimized words on our LinkedIn and on our resume that allow recruiters to see our profile on LinkedIn Recruiter when they search up certain keywords like IAC, Terraform, CI/CD, Kubernetes, Docker, containerization. Like these are SEO optimized words that recruiters put in search engines like LinkedIn Recruiter to find opportunities, to find candidates for opportunities. Because recruiters, they literally need people who can do these jobs. And so all you're doing is making yourself more visible for recruiters to reach out to you. Okay. Now there's a lot of other stuff that we do, but that's just one tip, right? Having your profile SEO optimized. Okay. Now, like I said, if you want to see another video that goes through all 5, just let me know. But what I want to share is it's a lot easier when you have recruiters reaching out to you to land a position. Step number 6, never negotiate with a feeling. Negotiate with a second conversation. Okay. Now, for me, I'm only going to speak for myself and not anybody else. It literally doesn't make any sense to try and get a raise at at your current company for 2, 3, 5%, right? I never got a raise because I never looked for that. Instead of a 3% raise, right? I went from $135,000 a year And I had back to back to back offer letters. Okay. Within like, I think 2 weeks. And so there's a video that says how to make $500,000 a year on my YouTube channel. You can see like literally my offer letters and then the date. So you can verify what I'm saying. Also on my Instagram, it says about me. You'll see all of my offer letters there too as well, right? So it's, you can verify what I'm saying. But I had back to back to back offer letters. I wasn't trying to go from 135 to 150. I was trying to go from 135 to $500,000 a year, right? And so I had a second conversation at another company, right? And the company were offering contract roles because of the skill sets that I was able to possess, right? I had contract skills, right? But anyways, you want to have a second conversation at another company, not within the same company, because the opportunity is limited compared to another company. You can double, triple your income. And the last step is stack contracts. And you want to do it in a clean way. Okay. And here's the part that actually took me from $135,000 a year all the way to $489,000 a year. Okay. One high paying role is not going to get you to $500,000 a year. And that's the biggest misconception that I see. And maybe it's my fault because I say, here's how to make $500,000 a year as a cloud engineer. And then like 30 seconds later inside the video, I explain how it's like contract work is job stacking ethically and legally. And a lot of people say, hey, you can't make $500,000 as a cloud engineer with one role, right? But they just don't watch the video. That's besides the point. The point I'm trying to make is you need a skill set that you can work remote, is high paying, and you can scale to $500,000 a year. C2C contracts and cloud engineer is the vehicle that I used to scale my income to $500,000 a year. And I was able to not work a lot of hours because of the nature of the job of cloud engineers. Okay. Now, when I say this, right, I wasn't working at like Google or Netflix, huge companies, right? I was working at mid-sized level companies. And also I was working. So my main point is, it's like, if you're working at Facebook, at Meta, obviously you're going to be working a lot. Okay. So there were certain companies that I was targeting that would not allow me to work 8 hours for one role. And so you want to be strategic in the type of role that you're targeting, like W-2 or C2C or 1099, and the company that you're targeting to. Okay. And so if I was to start all over again, this is exactly what I would do in terms of positioning myself in the market to make $500,000 a year. Now, full transparency, I wasn't making $500,000 a year. I was making $489,000 a year. It kind of sucked because I missed my target, but aim for the moon, hit a star, I guess. But if you are, once again, if you're already making six figures and you're stuck, you need like that extra support, like a step-by-step blueprint. Okay. It's literally step-by-step to actually hit that 300, 400, 500K mark. First off, go to my Instagram and look at my highlights. You'll see different testimonials of people doing that. And then also go to my YouTube highlights, testimonials. You'll see it in the description below. The Instagram link and the YouTube playlist. You'll see a bunch of people hitting offer letters and doing the same thing, right? So you can actually see their stories of what they did, the mindset that went into it, the skill set that they were able to gain from the program. And if you're interested on, learning the same thing, seeing how we can help, go ahead and apply in the link, the first link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.